Hi there, Jeff here from the Wetsuit Centre, talking to you today about the Seaskins Wired Winter Wetsuit for 2014-2015. For those of you who don't know who Seaskins are a UK based company, but they sell wetsuits all over the world. And they're basically all about cold water surfing, so creating wetsuits which are nice and flexible, but will keep you really warm in the coldest of waters, even down to sort of like 5 or 6 degrees, which is what it gets down to in the UK. And up even in Scandinavia, places like that. Their suits are renowned for being one of the warmest on the market. The suits themselves come out of the same factory as companies like O'Neill, so the quality is just as good, but Seaskin's ethos is trying to give you a little bit more for your money. So basically you get kind of more technology and more features in the wetsuit than perhaps you would get with a rival company for the same price. So great suits, and they have spent a lot of time getting their fit right. Spent a lot of time sort of researching and making sure they've got a size for everyone, basically. So for the majority of people, if you follow the size chart, the future fit that they've got should fit you really well in all the right places and feel really good when it's on. One of the sort of features of Seaskin suits, though, they're quite chunky, quite thick wetsuits, so they are renowned for being quite tricky to get on and off. So it's worth bearing that in mind, but having said that, once you get them on, they're super warm and they do feel good, and the technology in them is pretty awesome. So the Seaskins Wired within the series is pretty much their top end suit. You've obviously got the Hot Wired now, which came in a couple of years back, which superseded the Wired as the most expensive or the top end suit. That was basically because it contained some of the sort of flash dry or quick drying technology. And also some of the air insulated neoprene and stuff like that. So the Seaskins Wired. This particular winter Seaskins Wired is a 543. Basically that indicates the thickness of the neoprene. So you've got a 5mm on the lower body or on the core, and then it drops to a 3mm over and above the arms. We need a bit more flexibility, and I believe the 4mm is just to tie the two sort of panels together. So get that thicker neoprene where you need it. As I said before, they are quite chunky wetsuits, the Seaskins. I'll demonstrate that, bring that a bit closer so you can see it's a good thick 5mm. Probably if you actually got out a ruler, it's probably a bit thicker than 5mm. But that's the technical specification, and they certainly are really warm, thick suits. So great for people that really feel the cold. So the suit itself, in terms of the actual neoprene, is 100% super stretch neoprene, which is Seaskin's lightest, most stretchy neoprene the whole way through, giving you sort of unrestricted flex the whole way through the wetsuit. All of the seams are glued and blind stitched, and then what they do as well, they use the new sort of power seam technology over the top, which is essentially a very thin liquid taping. Okay, and what that does is just reinforces the suit, so stitched halfway through, glued, then bonded with this tape. And that basically just reinforces the suit, stops any water getting through, but it's nice and thin, so there's not too much restriction like there is with the traditional liquid taping. Okay, so it's a nice bit of technology, that, and the stitching runs on the inside of the suit. So that liquid taping is the whole way through the outside, the power seam technology. The seams themselves are all pre-bent or bent in a sort of way that's shaped to the human body, so it's not giving you any restriction. So around the lumbar you've got a dipped seam, which gives you plenty of movement in 4 ways. Around this sort of middle central panel, you can see the seams just match the contours of the body to make sure that the flexibility and your movement isn't restricted in any way by the seams themselves. There's no smooth skin lining on the suit, so what they do is just put one panel of double lined neoprene the whole way through the front and around the back as well. And the idea being that because the suit is sort of thermal lined and it's really geared towards performance, putting another sort of smooth skin panel on the wetsuit creates a bit more restriction, too many panels, weight and layering, that kind of thing. So just to have one piece of neoprene just promotes more flexibility, and hopefully with the lining and the quality of the neoprene you shouldn't have too much loss of warmth. Further down on the suit you get the sort of puffed out knee pads. They're a Duraflex knee pads to stop any sort of wear and tear through the knee, and they're sort of puffed out around the knee just to make sure that they lock the knee in and really comfy. And around the back of the knee you get like an embossing, which just again helps the suit move a bit easier around the back of your knee where you need a bit more sort of movement basically. Around the inside of the ankle and around the wrist you get this sort of liquid taping, which just adheres the suit to you, less chance of any flush through the cuffs and through the leg. Okay, so everything's really thought about in this suit. The entry system itself is a chest zip system. Okay, walk you through that. And basically, the inside of the wetsuit is brought up nice and high to make sure that any water that comes in through the collar is met with these two pieces of neoprene which come really high up and have a lining on them just to sort of create them a nice bond with your neck. And any water that comes in goes basically into the chest zip system and then is drained out through the side. And then you've also got a drain hole in the arm to just let all the water sort of trickle out of the chest zip system. So the inside of the wetsuit is here, the chest zip is sewn over the top. This makes it tricky to get in and out of, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. Essentially what you're doing is opening up the top of the wetsuit nice and wide, turning it inside out, getting in and then pulling up and over your shoulders. The benefits of that is obviously you don't have a back zip, so there's less chance of water coming in through the back zip and less restriction that you obviously have with the back zip. So there's more flexibility through the back of the suit, and also you have an unbroken seam, or unbroken collar I should say, so you don't have a zip running through it, which should hopefully keep water out a little bit better as well. The inside of the collar is a smooth skin. The collar just sort of sticks it to your neck and makes sure that you get minimal amount of flush through, so when you're sort of duck diving or falling off, whatever you're doing. You've got the little toggle there which just allows you to fasten the suit. Nice thing about seaskins, as I said before, is there's no sort of corners cut. They give you all the technology, and you get a really nice sort of like stick down tab, and the zip itself is a really good quality zip, full-on metal YKK zip, so it feels nice and sort of robust, so it's not going to fall apart anytime soon. So that's the chest entry system, and essentially it's a better way of keeping out water of the suit, but the downside is it is harder to get in and out of, and you know, some people are sort of much more inclined to go for a back zip because they're easy to get in and out of, and they still do a great job of keeping water out. So that's everything going on the outside. I'm going to turn it inside out for you now and have a little look at the features that lie within. Okay, so here we have the inside of the Seaskins wired. Just walk you through the various sort of panels and features you get in the wetsuit. So that blue neoprene you can see is that super stretch neoprene the whole way through the suit. As you can see, it's fully stitched the whole way through, and what they do is they just chuck an extra bit of tape on all the critical joints as well, just to make sure they're fully reinforced and don't fall apart. One thing that's worth mentioning with the Seaskin suits as well, you get that little closed-in cuff. That first came about in the XL suits, but it's a nice little touch just to really sort of, it's like a dry suit almost. It just seals the suit right against your wrist, gives you a nice tight seal, stops any water flushing through, and just basically promotes a little bit more of a dry suit sort of technology, keeping water out of the wetsuit. You've got this polypro material, which is the green material. I'll come nice and close, and basically that is just kind of like a polypro fleece, which is like a thermal lining. What it does, it traps warm air as it leaves your body into the sort of like little parts of the sort of fabric. It dries really, really quickly, and it obviously insulates you with that warm air. And you get that through the whole front of the suit, and that stuff does make a big difference in terms of keeping you warm. The whole front of the suit, right down to the knee, and around the back as well, around your kidneys, your core, just to keep you nice and toasty. In certain areas you get the Seaskins taping as well, that nice flat taping, which you get the whole way through the hot wired. But that's the primary difference between this and the hot wired. The hot wired, you get that dry knit technology, which is a back-combed polypro, so it's more of a fluffy material which has benefits of drying really, really quickly. And also you get the air insulation in certain parts of the suit as well, which you don't get with this suit. So this suit's a bit cheaper, a bit more of a kind of a lightweight performance suit, but you do still get all of the thermal lining, all that kind of stuff, and all this sort of really nice warm technology. This suit is obviously the man's one, and we do a kid's one as well, which is essentially exactly the same suit, with all the thermal lining, all the bells and whistles, but just a slightly different colourway for kids. But it's a really, really warm wetsuit. So if you're looking for a really warm wetsuit for your child, I definitely recommend the Seaskins wired, because they are chunky, thermal lined, and they will keep them very warm. And you get a lot of money, a lot of technology for your money, so you hopefully they won't sort of grow out of it too quickly. But yeah, that's a great suit. Seaskins wired on the whole is a really fantastic kind of, I would say top-end suit, but there are more expensive suits now. So it's a well-priced, sort of mid-£200, thick, warm winter wetsuit. As long as the fit is good, you'll be really, really chuffed with it.